Burrows ends with one of the most emotional and disturbing finales we've seen in sci-fi television in years. What started as a creepy mystery about elderly residents mysteriously dying inside a retirement community slowly transforms into a tragic story about grief, immortality, and humanity's fear of death itself. And by the final episode, almost every major mystery gets answered. Although the show still leaves behind one terrifying clue that could completely change everything in season 2. So let's break down exactly what happened in the ending of The Burrows, what the creature called Mother really was, why the residents were dying, what Sam's final glitch means, and how the finale secretly reveals the true message of the entire series. The biggest reveal comes when we finally learn the truth about Blaine Shaw and the origins of the Burrows itself. For most of the season, Blaine presents himself as the wealthy founder of the retirement community, a man trying to build a peaceful place for older people to enjoy the rest of their lives. But underneath that calm exterior, Blaine has actually been alive for far longer than anyone realizes. The finale reveals that Blaine was originally a miner named Marcus Shaw back in 1949. While working deep underground in the desert, Marcus discovered a strange alien-like egg buried beneath the earth. When the egg hatched, it revealed a mysterious creature, later known as Mother. At first, Marcus was terrified of her, but after accidentally consuming some of her blood, his body began changing. His aging slowed dramatically, his illnesses disappeared, and he realized Mother possessed the ability to extend human life. That discovery became the foundation of everything. Marcus reinvented himself as Blaine Shaw, became incredibly wealthy over the decades, and eventually created the Burrows directly above the underground cavern where Mother was trapped. Together with Annalise, he secretly spent decades harvesting Mother's blood to maintain their immortality. But there was a horrifying downside. Mother needed to feed in order to survive. Throughout the season, residents inside the Burrows are found dead under mysterious circumstances, often with strange marks near their necks or heads. At first, the show makes it seem like some supernatural curse or serial killer is responsible. But the finale reveals the horrifying truth. The spider-like creatures seen attacking people are actually Mother's offspring. Those creatures were harvesting cerebrospinal fluid from elderly residents and bringing it back underground to feed Mother. In other words, the entire retirement community was essentially a human farm built to sustain Blaine and Annalise's eternal life. And that revelation completely changes the way we see everything that happened earlier in the series. What makes the finale even more interesting is that Mother herself turns out not to be the true villain. For most of the season, Sam believes Mother is evil because she constantly appears to him through strange visions connected to his dead wife Lily. Sam thinks she's manipulating him, haunting him, or trying to drive him insane. But in reality, Mother was trying to communicate. The creators explain that Mother experiences time differently than humans. She doesn't see events in a normal linear way, which is why her messages appear fragmented, distorted, and dreamlike throughout the season. Those strange glitches that characters experience are actually failed psychic transmissions from Mother trying to connect with people emotionally vulnerable enough to hear her. And Sam becomes the perfect target because grief has emotionally shattered him after Lily's death. That's why Mother repeatedly uses Lily's image. She isn't trying to torture Sam. She's using the deepest emotional connection in his mind because it's the only way she can reach him. Once Sam finally understands this, the entire story changes direction. Instead of trying to destroy Mother, he realizes she's actually a prisoner. For decades, Blaine and Annalise kept her trapped underground while exploiting her blood for immortality. Her children were forced to hunt residents simply to keep her alive. She wasn't attacking humanity out of cruelty. She was surviving. And then comes the most tragic reveal of all. Mother doesn't want immortality. She wants death. After existing underground for decades in constant suffering, Mother finally asks Sam to help her return to the cave where she first hatched so she can die peacefully beside her children. It's a shocking emotional twist because the creature the audience feared for the entire season turns out to be one of the most sympathetic characters in the story. The real monsters were the humans exploiting her. Meanwhile, Sam and Claire finally discover a way to fight Blaine and Annalise. Earlier in the season, Sam learned that old cathode ray televisions emit frequencies that interfere with Mother's blood. When exposed to those frequencies, people enhanced by her blood begin losing control of their bodies. That discovery becomes the key to stopping Blaine. In the finale, Sam and Claire use the televisions against Blaine and Annalise, forcing their hidden mutations to emerge. The immortal blood keeping them alive begins destabilizing their bodies. Annalise dies first in one of the most disturbing scenes of the finale, as her body rapidly breaks apart under the frequency exposure. Blaine survives longer because he has consumed more of Mother's blood over the decades, making him far more powerful. But even Blaine eventually weakens enough for Sam to escape with Mother and lead her back toward the original cavern. This leads into the emotional climax of the series. As Sam guides Mother underground, Blaine follows them for one final confrontation. Blaine still refuses to let go of immortality. Even after decades of manipulation, murder, and exploitation, he cannot accept death. And that obsession becomes the central theme of the entire show. Blaine represents humanity's fear of aging and mortality. He spent nearly a century trying to escape death, but the longer he lived, the less human he became. His immortality stripped away empathy, morality, and eventually even his physical humanity. Sam, on the other hand, begins the series terrified of loss after Lily's death. But unlike Blaine, Sam eventually learns that mortality is what gives life meaning. That idea reaches its emotional peak during the final cave sequence. Once Mother reaches the cavern where she was born, she finally lies down surrounded by her children. For the first time in decades, she's free. And then she dies peacefully. But her death triggers a massive energy release that causes the entire cavern to collapse. Blaine is consumed in the explosion, finally ending his reign permanently. At least, that's what the show wants us to think. During the explosion, Sam experiences something incredibly strange. Suddenly, he's transported back to the night Lily died. At first, it seems like another psychic vision, but this moment feels different from earlier glitches throughout the season. The environment is calmer, clearer, almost peaceful. Sam shares one final dance with Lily, and she tells him the line that defines the entire meaning of the Burrows. Time is a gift. That line completely summarizes the show's philosophy. Blaine spent decades trying to conquer time and avoid death, but doing so destroyed his humanity. Sam finally realizes that life matters precisely because it ends. Mortality gives meaning to love, relationships, memories, and existence itself. It's an incredibly emotional ending because Sam finally accepts Lily's death instead of endlessly running from grief. When Sam wakes up afterward beside Mother's skeletal remains, it appears the story is over. The Burrows are free. Blaine is dead. Mother is finally at peace. But then the show delivers one final terrifying cliffhanger. At the celebration scene near the end of the episode, Sam notices his reflection briefly glitching inside a mirror. And the series never explains it. The creators later confirmed that this final moment is extremely important. Even though Mother died, something supernatural may still remain connected to Sam. There are several possible explanations. The first theory is that Sam absorbed part of Mother's power during the cave explosion. Earlier scenes subtly hint at this possibility, especially because Sam's injuries heal strangely fast and his wound continues bleeding unnaturally during the finale. The second theory is that Mother was never the true source of the supernatural energy. Throughout the season, the show repeatedly references strange phenomena beneath the desert itself, including the mysterious healing peach tree discovered by Art earlier in the story. That suggests the land may contain an ancient force much larger than Mother alone. And the third theory is the creepiest one. Mother's consciousness may still exist. The glitch in the mirror could imply that part of her psychic connection survived after death and now lives inside Sam. If that's true, then Mother may not be completely gone after all. Either way, the finale clearly sets up a second season while still delivering emotional closure for Sam's arc. By the end of the Boroughs, the mystery was never really about monsters underground. It was about humanity's fear of growing old and being forgotten. The horror elements were simply metaphors for aging, grief, and the desperate desire to hold on to time forever. And that's what makes the ending so powerful. Underneath all the sci fi mystery and creature horror, The Burrows is really a deeply human story about accepting mortality and understanding that life only matters because eventually it ends.